Hi, ho there, folks. Hope everyone's well and life is treating you well. I am doing the weekly update sort of thing. It's been a weird week. Um, I think, like a lot of people, the election definitely derailed me a bit. I also had some actual paid writing work to do, so that derailed some of my writing plans, but in a good way, because really, I'm not going to complain about a chance to write some gaming content. Um, I I recently got the chance to talk about uh, Adventures in Middle Earth Player's Guide, which I'm a fan of. I think that it is a good book. Um, but it's not a complete gaming thing. You could theoretically use it with regular D&D 5th edition books and come up with adventures, but the power level and the scaling wouldn't work. The player's handbook is it's built on the player's guide for Adventures in Middle Earth is set to show adventures in Middle Earth. So a lot of the things that are the monsters and such in regular D&D are balanced against don't work there. There is no mystical artillery version of magic in that game, and I'm okay with that. I think it's actually kind of awesome that it doesn't have that, but it does mean that you have a hard time interacting with D&D on it. I do think it is pretty neat, though. I think I really dug what they were doing with the use of different herbs, giving different kind of healing effects, and I like that it is in many ways a low fantasy book, despite the fact that Tolkien is obviously considered high fantasy in a lot of ways. If I were running a sword and sorcery game, I would definitely use this rule set as the basis. But yeah, it's not going to work on its own um, without the Lore Master book, which is supposed to come out later this month. But still, there's some interesting lessons to be taken from it. I think it shows the capability of 5th edition to be customized to an entirely different feel and still use the base systems of 5th edition. I do think that it is, for that purpose, a good proof of concept. Uh, I would recommend people check it out if you get a chance. I did a whole review with the guys over at the Tome Show, and I'll go up eventually. But yeah, it's a really interesting sort of piece of game design. I think that I mean, world design, well, is already done. It's Tolkien. I mean, they picked a section of the world and time right after the Hobbit. Actually, the after Bard takes the Men of Dale and they form their own kingdom and all of that. It's that sort of section of the world and that section of time, and yeah, it's neat. I like it. I think that I would like to see more people experimenting with what you can do with 5th edition beyond the D&D accepted tropes. Um, I am eager to see somebody try a science fiction game using 5th edition as the basis. At this point, I think that would be interesting to see how it plays out. There are some base assumptions that you have to get rid of, but they are not base assumptions to the system itself. Just how you have the different powers and different monsters set up If you can set them up differently, and it works just fine. And in much the same way that White Star is a variation on the old school revival White Bucks uh, sort of D&D clone, they you could do a science fiction take on fifth edition, and it would work just fine. You would have to completely redo your monsters. You obviously not going to use the same monsters. You would have to start over with your classes and races with new assumptions. But the base system wouldn't have to change at all. Skill checks are pretty simple and they work universally. Hill points are fairly easy to work with. So yeah, I think it would be an interesting thing to do. I've used interesting a lot in this little video. I should find another word. But it seems like a satisfying line of inquiry to pursue. Anyway, I'm going to get back to work on some other things, but thank you for watching. Share, like, subscribe. Maybe go to the Patreon, kick in if you can. If you can't, that's cool. I understand. And, have a good November. I will see you later. Ciao.